Thanks so much. Your sixth season at UCF. Last year, you end on this run. What has the off-season been like as you guys prepare for 2021-22 season?
Well, it's been a good off-season for us. As you know, coming off the COVID year, we didn't have an opportunity to have a preseason. We didn't have a summer. And so we got off to a really late start last year. And so coming into this year, we're excited to have a good spring and a good summer and a good early fall. And that's just what we've gotten. Our guys have worked really hard. They've been very competitive. And I think we're getting better.
Hey, Coach, this is former washed-up UCF player Mike O'Donnell. Great to see you. I wanted to ask you, though, might be your deepest team since you've come here at UCF. And too early to compare different programs that you've had at UCF, but how are you able to manage finding minutes for everybody, given the fact that you've got a lot of talent and you've got to find those pieces, put them together from a chemistry standpoint this season?
Well, that's big for us. We talk about, a few things that we have to have in our program is great work ethic, number one. Two is chemistry, as you just mentioned. And the third is leadership. And so as we're going through looking at our players and trying to define roles for them, we're just trying to see who fits well with who. The guys have all, making it challenging for us. They're making it hard for us, which is a good thing because the competition is so good. And that's going to make us a better team overall. But right now, we do have maybe the deepest team that I've coached here. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the opportunities that it presents for these players. I'm excited the opportunity it presents for our program. And so we're just looking forward to getting started. And we'll find, and put guys in the proper places as we move forward. But the main thing is right now is to continue to play with good depth, play with good energy, and keep playing for each other.
Hey, Coach Dawkins, Brooke Weisbrod. You played for Coach K, you coached with him, and there was a moment where a few years ago I was interviewing Zion Williamson, and he said in the huddle, Coach K said, "I don't coach losers, so go out there and get us a win." And it literally shifted the energy of the game, and I'm wondering if there was a moment for you as a player or an assistant coach that you can look back to, and maybe one that you still use now, that Coach K-ism that when you left that huddle, you immediately felt that shift of energy or the game changed.
Well, I think the biggest thing that coach does is he just believes in you. And I've tried to instill that in all of our players. Whenever they step foot on the court, no matter who we're playing against, I'm always, trying to instill to them that I believe that we're always going to be the best team to step foot on the court. And I think that's something that I took from him. No matter what moment we were in, he always had the same mindset. He always had the same look on his face. It was that look of confidence, that look of belief. And that's something I think he shared with all of us that played for him as well as coached with him.
Coach, we ran a piece talking about your championship mindset. You talked about how things have shifted since you've been there. It was first considered a football school, and now it's becoming also a basketball school. How have you seen the city of Orlando, the fans of UCF, embrace your team throughout the years?
They've really embraced us. I've been so excited being here and watching, our support continue to grow. And that's largely because of our players. I think they get out in the community. Not only do they play for us, but they get out in the community active. They're seen out. And that's important. And, we want to be considered as Orlando's hometown team. And the way you do that is by throwing yourself into not just what you do on game night, but it's by being out there, being available to people, being in the community, your civic responsibilities, all the things that go along with being a good citizen in your town. And I think our guys have done a great job of doing that by getting involved. And I think this helped our entire area just feel, more at ease with who we are and what we're trying to accomplish.
Coach Dawkins, we now have some questions from the media via Zoom. Tom, what's our first question?
Thanks, Chris. Our first question is from Eric Lopez at the Black and Gold Banneret.
Coach, Brandon Mayhem returns. He was honored second team all-conference just announced. Just talk about him returning and what you've seen from him that he here for another year.
Well, excited to have Brandon back for another year. He's been terrific in practice, just being aggressive and playing his game. And when he does that, he's pretty special out there on the floor. I think it's an honor that's well deserved for him. And excited to, see what he does for us this season. But he's come with a great mindset since returning, and it's happy to see the growth. When a player's been with you more than 1 year, more than a couple years, you start to see the growth of the relationships, the chemistry with his teammates, and so all those things have moved up to a higher level, with Brandon this season.
Our next question is from Jason Beatty with the Orlando Sentinel.
Hey, Johnny, I'm looking over the preseason poll from the coaches. You guys were picked 5th. I don't know if the American can be a 5-team bid league, in the tournament, but what do you think you have to do to finish higher than that? And do you think 5th is a fair position for your team?
Well, let me start off by saying, first of all, I think that we, at UCF, look at ourselves as always trying to compete for championships. I'm sure like all of these coaches in this league, it's a very competitive league from top to bottom. I think we're all shooting for the same thing. Talking about how many bids that we could possibly get, I could see us getting at least 5 bids out of our conference, to be quite frank. I mean, you have terrific coaches, a lot of talent in this conference, and I could easily see you getting that many teams in, especially this season with the depth that we have that I know is returning on all of these teams. So it's going to be a great year in the American Conference, and I'm excited. I'm sure all these other coaches and teams are as well.
Our next question will be from Leo Torres from NSM Today.
Hey, Coach, can you talk a little bit about Isaiah Adams' development so far this season?
Isaiah's developing well. Like I said, just think last year, he didn't have a spring or summer or even much of a fall with us last year. And so his development was kind of stymied. When players that come in as a freshman last year and you can't come on campus, and we all understand why. I mean, COVID was real and it's tough. But those young freshmen, this is like their first freshman summer. This is the first summer that they had in college. So he's growing a lot. I think he's really understanding what it takes to be, a high-level Division I player. And he's really embraced that. The one thing he always brings is a sense of confidence and air about him that he can accomplish anything he wants to on the court. So I've really watched him grow. He's getting stronger. His game is becoming a little more well-rounded. So I'm excited to see what he can do this upcoming season.
And let's go to a follow-up from Eric Lopez.
Coach, you always play a tough non-conference schedule, but this year is to the next level. You've got Michigan coming in, Oklahoma's coming into your building. You go to Auburn. You've got Florida State and Sunrise. Just talk about how you've been able to build these schedules, and especially having marquee teams coming to your building.
Well, it's important to try to get marquee teams coming here. Of course, our players, they all want to play against teams of that caliber. And so we try our best to make sure we find opponents that want to compete against us, whether it's here or on the road. And we're fortunate to land some, quality opponents again this year. The main thing is, as I said when I took the job here, we're always going to try to have the toughest preseason schedule we can find. I think that's the only way you can prepare yourself for a conference like ours is to play against great conference, great competition in the preseason. And so we try to do that every year. And this year, there's really been no exception. As you said, if anything, we've dialed it up some more. But that's because we have a lot of guys returning, of course, this season, a lot of veteran players. And those are the type of games they really want to be in. They want to compete against these type of teams and kind of see where they stand. And I want to give those guys in our program an opportunity to do that.
Hey, Coach Mike O'Donnell here. Last question for you. Depth of the backcourt, individually talented on paper, really good, as you know. Most of the media knows. But what's your expectations for this backcourt, particularly, Darius and Brandon?
Well, for both Darius and Brandon, we need them to lead our team. I mean, they both are terrific talents, on the ball or off the ball. But the thing I need them to do is to really lead. There won't be anybody on the court that has more experience than those two players. As 2 fifth-year seniors returning, their experiences as you're going to get in college basketball, and we need them to make sure every night they come out and they set a tone. They set a tone first by how hard they practice, how hard they play, and then by being a great voice in the locker room for us because, we go as they go, to be quite frank. And every really good team I had or every mediocre team I had, they've gone the way of our upperclassmen, and those two are upperclassmen. And so we're going to put some of that pressure on their shoulders to lead us. And I think they're welcoming that. I can tell by how we've practiced. that's something that they want, and they're excited to be in that position.